So, hello everyone. Welcome. We have a special guest, one of my coworkers, Ms. Tammi Buehler. How are you doing, Tammi?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. Rested from a week off of school. So just
Nice. So, what have you been up to? What is going on in the Buehler household these days?
sports. Sports are
Sports.
always going on in the Bueller household. Let's see. We didn't get to go anywhere because Walker's playing football.
Okay.
And so he had practice every day this week.
I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate.
So your sports are going on, and so I take this to mean you're not playing sports, but your kids are playing sports, correct?
Okay, I always tell people like I used to be super athletic and I passed all the abilities onto my kids, and once I had children, it left me. Like,
Ah,
it's all gone. I
got
did.
you.
I worked out every day this week. I'm so proud of myself. Like, pat my back. But there's one class I love, and I used to teach it. Like, I used to teach this exercise class.
Oh,
And
really?
it's called Body Attack, and it's pretty intense. Obviously, it's Body Attack, and so my favorite instructor was teaching it on Friday, and there were a couple other Body Attack classes, but if I do Body Attack, I'm out for 2 days afterwards. Like, I can't do any. My feet hurt, my legs hurt, my back hurts. Getting old is like not fun. So yeah, my kids are sports. Like, it's all kids sports all the time.
Got you. So how many kids do you have?
4.
You have 4 kids?
I got
And
a lot of kids. And yes, I do know how that happens. So yeah.
Are they 2 boys, 2 girls, 3
Yeah,
girls,
so
1 boy? Okay.
I have an 18-year-old girl in college, and then a 17-year-old boy who's a junior, a 9th grade boy who's a freshman, and a 7th grade girl. Yeah. So it's crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
so when girl, boy, boy, girl.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always thought I think I would want an older boy. Like, like when you're planning your family, like you get a say. I was like, I always think I'd want an older boy, but like Opal is so responsible that I'm kind of glad I had a girl first, because at least she's responsible and everybody else is kind of a hot mess. So it's okay.
Well, it's funny. I remember like last year. So how we met is, of course, I came all the way from North Carolina and started my job as a teacher. And like you were kind of you were our team lead. And so that was like, you were the first person outside of Dale, because Dale and I we basically are doing the same.
Counterparts.
Yeah. So you were the first person to reach out and like, hey, like I'm your team lead. Like I'll be like working with you all year. So if you have anything, and it was cool to it was great to get to know you over the course of the year. And you were such a great resource to me. And you just kind of like that mentor, like
Took you under her wing.
Yeah. All the wisdom that you're able to share. It was definitely really cool. And like throughout the year, you could definitely see that like Opal was kind of like your right hand, like girl.
Yeah.
She was always around, and she was like always so helpful and like helping you with like crafts and stuff. It was great I share that story just to say like you could see like your relationship and how much like you trusted her to do things and like be responsible, and it was really cool to see kind of your like relationship.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, it was like, she went to college this year. I cried. Well, I cried all last year. Like anything, like I cried all the time. And it's like losing like a piece of your body. Like like you said, my right arm. Like I sent her away to college, and like I'm supposed to just like be okay with this. That sucked so bad. I really had a I still have a little hard time, but now I have Lala, the baby, like stepping in, and she's been actually super helpful too. So it's good to like, it's good. It's good for Delilah too, because now we're getting closer, and actually the boys too. So it was hard for Opal to go away because I mean, I pretty much, she's, okay, how do I say this without sounding like terrible? Like, she's practically perfect. Like, she, as a child,
I think we know the favorite child in this household.
Child.
well, she's the, like, she really was, like, she set such a good example. Now let me say this, okay? At home, she's a hot mess, but in public and in like everything else, like she's fantastic. Like, but if you were to go in her room and it's still this way because we haven't done anything with it, it's so bad. We were just talking about like hoarders buried alive.
Oh.
Like, it's like that. And there's a rabbit in there because she left her pet with us. And so this poor rabbit is living in like thank goodness it's in a cage. Otherwise it'd be buried under all her clothes. There's so much stuff.
Well, speaking of animals, like you guys have like a little miniature, I'm gonna call it a mini farm for lack of better words to use.
I call it a glorified petting zoo.
A glorified petting zoo.
Because like people are like, you live on a farm, but farm implies working animals. and nobody contributes on this farm, like no one. I mean, we do get eggs. So
Right.
That's about the extent of it. But we have like, you're gonna think we're crazy. I think we're like 27 chickens and a couple roosters in there. Yeah.
Oh, 27 roosters or 27 chickens. A couple of roosters. What other animals?
If you ever want fresh eggs, you just let me know. Like we're getting a dozen a day, like for reals. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
I know, it's kind of crazy. And then we have, let's see, well, I gotta count this. This is crazy. 1, 2. We have 5 bunnies. We have 1 in Opal's room, 1 in Lala's room, and 3 outside. We have a pet pig named
What's his name?
Fozzie the boar.
Oh.
I know. So weird.
One of my coworkers is obsessed with pigs, so I'll have to tell her that.
Well, so I'll tell you the story how we got the pig. I have always wanted a pet pig, always. My husband, okay, so Sean has realized there's some things he can't change about me, and one of them is my animal obsession, and Sean does not love animals. Let's put it all out there right now. Sean,
so a little compromise here.
Like,
this is how marriage works. You can't change a person, just...
You have to realize there are some things you can't change. And one of them is that he knows I'm crazy when it comes to animals. And so one day I text him this message. Mind you, Opal was in 7th grade. So like 5, 6 years ago. And I text him and I'm like, hey, can I have a pig? And he laughs. Like he's like texts back like, ha ha. I said, no, really, can I have a pig? And he's like, can we eat it? I'm like, no.
I want some bacon.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's a pet pig. Like, I want a pet. I've always, and this is how I said, I've always, and he knows I love pigs. I'm like, I've always wanted a pig. And he just writes back, and then says nothing else. So that night he came home to a pig.
He did not say no.
So we have this pet pig, and he used to be tiny. Like we have 2 dogs. And we've had Elsa for a long time, and Elsa she's another mess. She was supposed to be a half lab, half Great Dane, but after like a few weeks, we were like, that's not what's going on here. She wasn't growing, like she was tiny.
Yeah.
Elsa's a pit bull, so we have this like pit bull dog, and she's stocky, but she's not crazy tall. She's like the size of a small lab, and when we got the pig, he would fit right under her body.
Oh.
Now he's over 300 pounds.
A 300-pound pig?
Yeah, he's big. And he's a boar. He has like tusks like this. Yeah, he's a big boy. And he doesn't like the boys anymore. So we had to like separate him in the back. And so he has his own area, which we have a barn where the chickens lay, and then we have one side is where the pig is, and the other side is where our bunnies are. And we have like these huge cottonwood trees and misters. So we're like, it's like a really nice setup for them. So he has like his little area. He's got his little mud bath. So he has mud baths every day. And yeah, so we're a little
living the life.
He's living the life. And I have my pet pig, and I have my little farm.
Everybody's happy.
I'm happy. I don't know about Sean. He just doesn't look at the backside of that house. He's like, that's all you. But we also have a snake.
Oh,
you have a snake?
Mm-hmm.
And is that indoors or outdoors?
That's indoors. His name's Jafar.
So who gets this? How did the snake? Whose snake is it? Is it like the family snake and it goes in one room, or is it like in the living room? Like
in the living room. I have to get him a bigger cage because he grew. We got him when he was this big. He was a baby. So like Carson's teacher had baby snakes, and Carson had made a comment. He's like, "I'd love a snake," and I was like, "I don't know about snakes." And then the next thing I knew, we had 3 snakes.
I feel like that's how Sean feels. He's like, I'm like,
I don't know. The next thing you know, I got 2.
He's always like, no more animals, no more animals. And like every year, like we always go, no more animals. So I'm like, oh yeah, no more animals, no more animals. But we ended up with 3 snakes. And then I ended up giving one to like a coworker had heard me say, I'm like, we have all these animals. I got to get rid of one. And so she was like, we want a snake. And I'm like, really? Who wants snakes? So they took one. The kicker was we had one get out.
In the house?
In the house. Nobody knew where it went. And so for a long time, we were like, it could just like crawl up in your bed. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah.
It did not make it. It just kind of died, which I felt bad about. But also, there was a lot of relief there from everybody that they weren't going to like put their shoe on and have a snake in their shoe.
Where did you find it?
This is the craziest thing. Walker one day went to go open the sliding glass door. It had tried to get outside, but it got like stuck under the sliding glass door. And
gotcha.
Yeah. So poor snake. Like she didn't make it. And she was actually the nice snake. Like if any of the snakes that we wanted to stay around, that would have been the one.
It would have been number 1.
Yeah. So, but yes. And a bird. We have another bird in the house. It's kind of a zoo here.
It's a petting zoo. It's great.
Glorified petting zoo. So, like we kind of talked about your family a little bit. So, like, where are you originally from, and what kind of like brought you here to Arizona?
Okay, so Sean and I are from New Mexico. And we both grew up in Albuquerque. And I guess we even went to like rival high schools, but we didn't know each other. And then we met in college later. And
college in New Mexico as well? Or was that here or somewhere else entirely?
We went to a total nerd school. It's in Socorro, New Mexico. It's literally for like math and engineering. That's all that's at this school. So we met at like a total dork school. We met at the bar. It's like, you know,
the smart kids want to have a little fun too.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, that's a whole other story. But yeah, we like met at the bar there, and we got married, and we I worked like my degree's in chemical engineering, and Sean's petroleum engineering, and he worked for
engineering.
Yeah, we're both like we're total dorks. Like I always feel like I feel so bad for my kids. I'm like, we literally like your DNA is like, you're just dorks. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. It's in your DNA, sorry. And then we have like one kid who's like naturally cool. We have one out of 4. And I'm always like, I don't know. He just got like the cool DNA. It's because we named him because our last name's Buehler and his middle name's Ferris. I think that's why. I think we just like set him up for like, to be cool. Like.
You definitely did. You definitely did.
So engineering, and I worked and Sean worked. And then when we had Opal, I decided to stay home with the babies because it was daycare is so expensive. It's crazy. And so I ended up staying home with Opal, and then along came Walker, and then along came Carson. And the day I left the hospital after having Carson, Sean turns to me and goes, so we're moving to Chandler because I'm moving, transferring jobs like with Intel. So he moved our whole family, 3 babies, and we moved to, Chandler. We've been here almost, Carson will be 15. So we've been here about 14 and a half years.
Okay. Oh, that has to have been a big, like not only a big transition, but just a big like situation to manage. Like we moved just the two of us and one dog across the country. And I thought that was a big situation, but like we had no stuff, you know what I mean? I can't imagine having in this, your household, your kids, all that stuff, 3 kids. Yeah. And they're infants too. It's not like, you can be like, hey, go pack up your room or go carry this box. Like,
and they were all little. Like I think Walker was still in Walker and Carson were in diapers. Opal was only, let's see, 3. Opal's maybe 4. So like 4, 2, and then a baby. And then this is terrible. I hated Sean for a year. Like I was like, I hated her. I was like, it's so hot. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Like the whole year, I was the worst wife ever. Like I complained all the time. I feel so bad. And then after a year, I was like, this is probably the best place to raise your kids. Like there's so much stuff here for children. Like it's unreal, like how family friendly it is.
Yeah.
I just had to like
get your mind right.
Go to a good place. It was a rough transition. And then of course, while I'm pregnant again, and then I had 4 kids. So, you know, why not add more? But yeah, so it did for a whole year here. I was like, cause it was hot. I always tell people.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like that first summer. Like, I feel like the first summer I was here, I was like, I prepared myself mentally, like this isn't going to be too bad, or this is going to be bad. So like, I just got to get through it. And so that first summer I was like, I mentally prepared for a hot summer. And the second summer I was like, why is it so much hotter than it was last summer? But like on a record scale, like last summer, it wasn't nowhere near as hot.
2 years, man. The first 2 years, like it's so incredibly hot for 2 years. Like nobody tells you that. Like the first 2 summers are literally the worst, like absolutely the worst. Although I will say that this year with all the humidity, I don't know. I think I could do anything in the heat. That whole dry heat thing. I know it sounds like cliche, but the dry heat, I mean, is way better than hot heat.
Yeah.
The wet heat. I'm like, I don't do wet heat. Like I don't live here. My hair doesn't like it. My skin doesn't like it. I don't like it. But yeah.
I'm the same way for sure.
Yeah.
So you were like a stay-at-home mom and you have the 4 kids. And so what made you like want to go back into the workforce and like be a teacher?
Okay, so I was actually just talking about this today with Opal. I thought I would stay at home forever with my kids because I was like, I'll just stay at home forever. Like I never intended to go back to work. I know, right? And when the kids all went to school, I was so bored. Like I was used to having my kids. And also Sean, this is terrible. Sean was like, you know, if you're staying at home, you could like clean the house. And I was like, what? You want me to what? Like
all these animals.
I know. I was like, you want me to clean? Like I just, bleh. And so I was volunteering all the time at school. And my kids, I had 2 different schools. So I had Opal at Lincoln and I had the other 3 were at a different school. And so I was over volunteering at Opal school. And so one day I was talking and they were like, I had mentioned something because I had volunteered. I used to teach art for free. Like I would volunteer in my kids' classroom once a week just to have like the interaction because I don't like grading. Like that's not my thing. I don't like discipline. Obviously, that's not my thing. I just like having fun and I like art. So I was like, that works. So I volunteered like once a week in the kids' classroom. And then their school kind of was like, they hired an art teacher and they kind of were like, no more volunteering. So I was like, well, this is boring. So I was volunteering for lunches at Opal school and they overheard me say that I had taught art. And I was like, well, I don't really teach art. Like I don't have an art degree, but they're like, you have a degree, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have a degree. And so they asked me to come in and do a demo. So I did a demo and they didn't hire me. They hired somebody else. And I just was like, that's all right. You know, because I told you I didn't want to go back to work. I hadn't planned on it at all. Yeah. And then the next year would have been the year that if I had been hired, I would have started like in August. And I get a phone call over fall break. And they were like, hey, remember when you did the demo? We'd like you to come in again and just give us a talk or you know, just to talk to us. And I was like, that's weird. That was like half a year ago, sure.
Yeah.
I go in and they're like, our art teacher quit and we were wondering, would you be interested in teaching art? And it was like really weird because it had been a weird year. Delilah's appendix had ruptured. We had done Havasupai in July, and we hiked. We didn't hike out. I lied. That's a lie. We hiked in. It's like a 10-mile hike in, and then you hike around and you do all this stuff. It's really beautiful. And then
add that to our list.
You should add it to your list. It's like the green turquoise waterfalls that you see all over. They talk about air. That's Havasupai.
Okay.
And so we did Havasupai. We were down there for 5 days, and then we were like, we're flying out because you can take a helicopter out. We totally cheated. It was totally worth the $600 we had to pay to fly out. I was like, I would do it again if we did. But I don't ever want to have to do that again because it was it's primitive camping, which is fine once. So we flew out. I know. And the day after, we got home on a Friday. Saturday, Delilah said her stomach hurt. Sunday, we were in the hospital and they had told us that her appendix was wrong, had whatever. And then it ruptured that night on Sunday night. And so she was supposed to start school 3 days later. And it all ended up working out because I got to stay home with her. Everything happens for a reason. So I stayed home with her that first quarter. She was sick, back and forth because of her appendix. And then I get the job offer in the fall, after fall break. So I start teaching art there. And honestly, if you could pick a dream job for me, because I get my kids' vacations and I get to play all day with art stuff and with kids, and I just have kind of the best of both worlds. So it ended up working out. I always tell my kids now, I'm like you don't know what you're going to do 20 years from now. You might have intentions of getting this degree and going into that, but who knows 20 years down the line
what life throws at you.
I know, you never know. And so that's how I ended up working again. And it was funny because Opal's always I can't even picture you without a job now, because I really like what I do and I have fun and I like being out of the house a lot. And I like also being around my kids. That's one thing I really enjoy is my kids. That's been fun for me. Being a parent is probably the most fun I've had my whole life. So
my mom says the same thing.
It's true. It's totally true. I used to think oh, your mom, my mom's being cheesy, but being a parent is really fun. It's also really hard. If you had caught me on a bad day, that might be a different thing I was saying, but it's been a good day. So no, it's really
Opal's
fun.
home. It's a good day.
I feel it's a good day. No, but they have been really fun. It's super challenging. I always laugh because sometimes when my kids talk to me, they think I'm a ding dong. They just are because they're kids and whatever.
Yeah.
And now that Opal's in classes, she's taking chemistry classes and she goes, this is so hard. It's so hard. I was I know you all think I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. I did all that. I already did it. I'm done. Honestly,
I warned you.
Because I told you guys it was going to be hard, but but it's been fun. I do love being a mom. So,
I have a lot of people in my life that are, that kind of math sciencey type personality, and yet they're also so artistic. And I think that's really cool to kind of break that stereotype a little bit, that either you're math sciencey and no creativity, or you're only creativity. And plenty of people that are very creative, artsy, but yet also have more of that analytical side. So I think that's really cool, and you can show your kids that,
And I think there's a lot more people. I think part of it is, especially nowadays, we focus so much on STEM, that science, technology, the math, and we forget also the other part of it. So I think part of it is the way we do things with people, the way we teach our kids. I think it's important for everybody to have a little bit of everything, and then kind of choose that way. It's funny because Opal is incredibly gifted at art. Like I watch her, and she's studying civil engineering. That's her. That's what she's into. But like I've tried to have like a healthy balance. I do have one kid though who has no art skills. One.
Is that the cool one?
No. Oh. No, that one can actually draw. Walker can draw. Like he's actually super artistic. He just doesn't want anybody to know. Sorry, Walker. All know. But he's actually super good. But like Carson, like Carson's my lovable goof. He like, I don't know, like he could do stick figures really good.
We all have our strengths.
Yeah,
we all have our strengths. That's hilarious.
We're working on that one. I don't know what it is yet. Humor. I was like, the kid has been blessed with humor. Thank heavens, because I need it.
So how long have you and Sean been married?
21 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
I know. We'll be 22 years in February.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I know.
And so you met in college, and like how was, like, he met at a bar, like how did your relationship kind of grow? And like, did you like think he was the one, not think he was the one? How did your relationship go from the beginning?
So I guess like we met at a bar, and like we started hanging out, and we were like instant connection. Like we really liked each other. Sean though is Sean is not artistic at all. He is all math and science, and he graduated from college in 3.5 years. Like he had 1 B. That's it. Like he's so smart. Like, you know, it took me 5.5 years. There's like a whole story behind that, but like Sean is like, you know, by like everything. So Sean, he was obviously on the fast track to getting done. And so he got hired by Chevron, and we broke up. Like he went away. He was in Texas, and like so he was gone, and I said I was on a long path. Like it was a big. And so we like broke up for a while, and I was dating other boys at school, and Sean showed up one day and was like, you know, I've dated other girls and I think you're the one. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. So he came back all the way from Texas, and I was like, well, I thought you were the one, but you know, I'm not sure you're the one now. And so he was persistent, obviously, and it paid off. And we ended up getting married. I finally graduated in officially, I think it was 99, like December of 99. I told you 5.5 years. So I graduated in 99, and we got married in 2000. I know. I can't believe
that must be easy for the math on calculating how long you've
been
together.
Oh yeah, it's so easy because I'm like 2000. That's when we got married. And here's the kicker: we chose Valentine's weekend for our wedding date, so like it's super easy to remember our anniversary because it's 2/12. So like, it's easy. So we kept it pretty simple, but yeah. So
we got 8/28.
Yeah, we chose a palindrome because I'm also a nerd.
Well, and that's like numbers, right? Like it's all the numbers. Like, sometimes my kids are like, "Mom, you're really weird about numbers." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe."
They're my friends. They're my friends. Yeah.
That's an engineer for you.
Yeah. And I don't show it often, but every once in a while, Opal's like, "You're kind of special, Mom. That's an interesting way to look at things." But yeah, so, but that's it. But yeah, so we met in college, we dated, we broke up, and then dated again. And then that's it. And then 21 years later, 4 kids, 2 states, 3 houses,
chickens, 1 pig,
animals that my poor husband, who doesn't even like animals, like totally puts up with, which is fine. Like he humors me. So like I humor him. He has this Jeep that was like, I call it his midlife crisis. And so he had to have a Jeep. And so now he's fixing that up. So he has his thing. And as long as he gets to do his thing and he's happy with his Jeep, then I get the animals. But
there you go.
Yeah.
That. Well, I have to say, one of my favorite thing about meeting you was I was going to a football game to support William last year at Lincoln Prep. And I think it was my first game, might have been my second game. I think it was my first game. But I was like, oh, I'm so excited to be here, da da da. He's like, yeah, I'm so excited to introduce you to Tammi. You gotta meet her, like all this stuff. So I know that he really values all the time you guys spend together. Like I said, like he said, all the mentorship and everything. And I think Will's a pretty community-minded person and likes to have those people in his community. And so I think it's great that you guys can establish that and you have a good thing going there at so.
Yeah, I definitely love our, like they call it culture, I guess, like the atmosphere is like the culture. I love it there. It's like a big family. So whenever I get like people in, I just want to be like family because you know you spend so much time with your coworkers, like family.
Sure.
And one of my favorite things was that because you're a pretty rule follower, like.
Yeah, I'm definitely a rule follower.
Like my husband, like he's like, it's by the book and he's like a rule follower. So I get it. I am not, obviously. And so last year when we all decided to break the one rule, and
what was the rule?
We went on the roof.
You didn't tell me this.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Do tell. Spill all the details.
It was, Marcia was leaving us and like, it was a huge loss to us. And we all like, we were a close team, like we're a super close team. And so Marshall was like, I have one thing I want to do before I go, like my bucket list. He's like, it's to get on the roof. And so like, we were like, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm always like, sure, we'll do it. And we did it. Like they scoped out the area. We picked the one place we were going to go up so that we didn't get caught. And we went up and we took pictures. This was the best part. And so I told you, like, I'm technologically challenged, but William is not. And
I have my issues, but I know I can, I feel like
you keep our household technologically.
Well,
I have a little bit of expertise.
No, it was awesome. So I snuck in one day because we were like, okay, we broke the rules. It's kind of funny. We got to get Toyin in on this without her knowing she's really in on this. And so I was like, hey, can I take a picture of you? She's like, are you putting it on Facebook? I'm like, no, I promise, no social media. I won't put it on anything. So I like snuck a picture, like she let me take a picture of her. And then like she panicked. I don't know if I told you that. She was like, give me back the picture. Delete it. I was like, oh yeah, delete it. It's done. And so I sent William the picture and he photoshopped her into our group on the roof.
Yeah.
And it was our card to her. What was it? Was it her birthday? I can't remember what it was. And it was like cryptically wrote like, thanks for taking us to new heights or something like so dumb, like on it, like to kind of whatever. She had no clue, like, cause you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I do remember you working on that.
Yeah, the Photoshop.
Yeah.
And so it was so funny because like finally I told her, I was like, you know that pictures of us on the roof, right? And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, we didn't get in trouble. It was so fun because we all like just did it. It was like a one-time thing. It was hysterical. So I think that was the funnest thing we did last year.
And now it's like a treasured memory. Like that's awesome.
She has that picture hanging
up in her office. Yes.
And so does Rochelle. Rochelle has that picture in her office as well. Everybody laughs about it. They're like, I can't believe you guys did that.
Well, it was just a cool thing. Like, so Marshall, who's also been on the podcast before, like he's an artist and like he had been at Lincoln for a number of years, and you could definitely tell, like, just as Hattie was talking, like that sense of community, and like he was really good at building it. and was a big part of it. And so like he like was leaving. He's like, I'm gonna focus on like being an artist full time. And so like we like basically everybody's like, all right, we're gonna all do this together. And that is like one thing that I cannot say no to is like
The group.
like, yeah, the group, if everyone's like the group is gonna do this and well, I'm gonna be a part of the group and we're all going down. So it was really cool. And we got on the roof and kind of took a picture and it was his little last hurrah, but it was a lot of fun.
I know, and it kind of like summed up Marshall too, because like he's like edgy and
yes,
he definitely teeters. Like obviously I'm a boring mom now, so like I can't do the crazy stuff I did, you know, like beforehand, but like Marshall still can be like kind of crazy, and which I love about him. And so that kind of like summed up everything for like the team, like to do that with Marshall.
yeah.
It was very fitting.
It totally fit last year. And then last year was crazy anyways. So it was kind of like, it was just like an extra fun thing that we got to do as a team, which I think was probably my most favorite thing that we did last year. There were a lot of fun things we did, but that one, and the kicker was like giving Toy in the picture and like, she never even like she was like,
yeah, it never like, it didn't seem like it was, or I never felt like it was a big deal. I felt like everyone got a good laugh.
Yeah. But I bet we're the first and the last team to do that. My guess is that
living legends.
They'll be monitoring the stairwells after that. Like I didn't realize like too, like, so that was the other thing. We had to climb through a tunnel. And I just told you guys, like, I used to work out all the time, but I put on like 50 pounds, like I'm overweight, like I would climb through this little hole into the ceiling. And then I wore sandals like an idiot. And so I'm like, I hope my sandals don't fall out too, but I'm glad I did it.
Cool experience. I enjoyed it.
I like, it's like Havasu Pie. I did it once. Like might have a friend who's always like, let's go back. I'm like, that's a one.
Yeah, I've already checked that box. It's not unchecked anymore. Like
Havasu Pie, check. Roof, check. But yeah, no, I don't think I might do it again. Just for the fun, like just for the like
experience.
The experience.
So we, of course, were recently married last month. A 2 year or a year and 9 months engagement. So do you have any like marital advice for us as someone that's been in the married life for 21 years? Like any words of wisdom for us?
I'll have some words of wisdom. I don't know about advice. So here's what I do know. It's not always easy and you don't always like each other. That's like one thing, like, I think sometimes you go and you're like, it's going to be like flowers and roses all the time. But you always have to respect each other and you always have to value each other, even when it's hard. I think that's the hardest part. It's like finding like that stuff. But 21 years, yeah, you kind of learn to like, you know when to push back and you also know when to not. Like, you just know, like, you just kind of, you figure out what, you've dated a while, so you know, like, what can drive somebody crazy, like, you know, like animals. Like, I do know when Sean's like at his end with me, like, so I know not to like bring any more animals home. Like, I think right now he's done with me with the animals, but I definitely feel like there's a lot of, you know, they always say 50-50. It's never 50-50. It's 100-100. You both have to always give 100% of yourself. Or if the other person right at that time can't give 100%, then you give 120 and they can give their 80. So you just kind of have to like manage that together. But it works, you know, it's, have you ever seen the movie Parenthood when the grandma talks about life being like a roller coaster? There's lots of ups and downs. There's a lot of ups and lots of downs. And so you use your ups to carry you through the downs. I think that's like the biggest thing, is just knowing that there are good times ahead, even if they're hard right now. And what was some good advice? Sean and I, we used to always say like we were going to have kids when we could afford them. You can never afford children. Just know this. Like there is never enough money in the world to have kids. So when you're ready to have kids, you have your kids, you know, like don't let like you know what I mean? Like you just like, because I was
thinking you have to have a certain amount of money for kids because you're never gonna have enough.
That much money. You will never have that much money. Like I mean, I'm always amazed. And I always thought they were really expensive when they were little, and now they're older, and I'm like, wow, they're so much more expensive. But you like manage you, so you can never do that, and you always have to be happy regardless of like the money you have too. That's another big thing, like, you know, and enjoy each other's accomplishments. Like never feel like, don't ever feel threatened by the other person's accomplishments. You have to like enjoy their accomplishments and celebrate with them. That's a big thing, is remembering when to celebrate, even like little things, just like silly little things, you know. But we've had a lot of ups and we've had a lot of downs, but we're still going strong, so that's good. Yeah. He puts up with me. And you know, it's weird because you like when you get married when you're young, you guys are young. So I don't feel young anymore.
We don't feel young anymore either.
I don't feel young anymore. No, oh man, I don't feel young. But like everything is so idealistic, you know, and it seems so easy. And that's good. Just ride that high as long as you can. You know what I mean? Like just have fun with each other and enjoy each other. And you don't always have to like the same things. That's a big one. Like I feel like people feel like they all have to share the same hobbies. There is no way I'm going into the garage to work on Sean's car with him. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's not going to go out and pick me up a dog. That's never going to happen. You know what I mean? So like, it's okay to have different hobbies. It's actually good to like have those things.
Yeah, have the things that you're interested in that maybe they're not.
Yeah, and that's good. So
I really appreciate that. And I loved everything that you said, but it really stuck out to me, the concept of it's not 50-50, it's 100-100, or, you know, when they can only give 80, you give 120. I think that's a really good way to look at things, just because, you know, it's a partnership and you're doing this together. So you got to get through it one way or another, and you have to support each other through that. And I just thought that was really interesting. We had been asking for a lot of advice for a while in different capacities, and we would often receive some of the same advice. But that was new, and I had never heard that one before, and I really like the way you put that. So
yeah, no, it's true, because you're never, you know, you're not always going to be on your A game. You know, like
right.
It's just like sports, right? Your kids aren't always going to have their best games. You just have to know that going into it. And if they can't play their best, somebody has to fill in for that. It's the same with marriage. Like if somebody's not on their best and they can't do that, then somebody has to fill in. Yeah. Now it's really funny. Like I always laugh though, because like Sean does not cook at all, or he'll grill. That's not true. He does grill. But like, if I get sick, that's the worst part. Like he doesn't. Cooking for the kids.
If you get sick, we're eating out.
Yeah, because they're old enough to do that now. But we definitely fill in like where we can. And I think it's more even like the emotional part of it. You know, like you just have to be prepared for all of it. It's, you know, marriage is hard, but it's also fun. We have a lot of fun together. This is one thing. When you do have kids, make time, like, and people will say like once a week. We didn't do that. We didn't do that.
Once a week seems like a lot.
For like date times, yeah, it's like a lot. That's too much. But I remember we took our first trip after 4 kids. Like I had never left my kids ever. Delilah was 4 years old. So that's like a long time not have ever left my kids, like ever. So because Opal would have been, I have so many kids, sorry. So 4, 6, 8, 10. Opal would have been 10. So I'd been home like 10. We hadn't done anything. And Sean and I took a trip to Seattle because one of his friends got married. And so we flew to Seattle and we went a little early because we'd never left the kids. And we were like, let's just have some fun and like go. And I remember Diesel, sorry, dog. I remember looking at Sean when we were there. It was like, we've been married 13, 14 years. And we were having so much fun. We were doing all these ghost tours. Like anything ghost, I love. Like I love all that stuff. And I remember turning to Sean afterwards and, I was like, I forgot how much fun we have together. And I said, I would totally date you again. So it's like fun to like reconnect on that level too, like to know that, that there's those things. And, it's funny, like 13 years and then like going on this like little trip off the side. And I was like, I would totally date you again. So it's always kind of it's like unwrapping a gift, and you're like, oh, I can date you again. Like I forgot how much fun we are together, which
just the two of you like going out and having fun too.
Yeah. So definitely make the time. It won't be once a week. I mean, who has time? I don't have time
this week now.
Yeah.
We don't have any kids. I'm like, oh God.
I know. And that's the thing. And so but it is fun to like look at your spouse after 14 years of marriage, being like, I would date you again. So just remember, like when you look at them, just be like, I would date you again. So it's kind of fun to know, like, remember those things. That's a little bit ways down the road, but it's always like just that fun part of like, that's why we got together. Although sometimes I think Sean's like, you're crazy. Like he's, but I always tell him, I'm like,
he's crazy in a good way. He loves it.
Yeah, you did not marry me for cooking skills or cleaning skills. Just remember that.
All right. Well, we are coming to a close. Thank you so much, Tammi, for joining us. Is there anything else you would like to share with us for the good of our listeners or each other? Like, we definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, we really do.
I don't know, just enjoy life. Like, just enjoy life. Like I think when I was younger, I fretted about literally everything. Like even when my kids were little, like I worried, am I doing the right things? They all turned out somewhat okay, I think. I mean, I still have, I'm trying not to say that because I still have like littles at the house. I got some time. But, sometimes it's not as terrible as you think it is. Like or as things are going. So I've really, I try to be as upbeat as possible. So that's it. Like that's all I leave on that note, like is to try to have fun. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've had a lot of fun. I've gotten in trouble. I got sent to military school. Like I've done a lot of things that are like, I know.
Pushing push the boundaries a little bit.
Push the boundaries a little bit. I was actually talking to Opal about that today too. We were talking about, I said, I'm glad I did it when I was younger. Like, I don't want to be getting sent anywhere now. So I still have fun and I still have a good time, but just don't sweat the little things. Like, just have fun. Enjoy each other now before kids, and then enjoy each other after.
Yeah.
And enjoy like your family. That for me, that's like the biggest thing. For me, it's like my world revolves around my family. And so that's kind of it. And when it was just Sean and I, it was us and the dogs. And then it was us, the kids and the dogs. And now it's all the other things too. But our family, family is like the biggest thing for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We have enjoyed this conversation. You take care and enjoy Opal and the rest of your kids for the rest of this weekend. And I guess you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.